Thomas is with us in Texas. Hi, Thomas. How are you?
I'm doing great. Dave, how are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, I just want to tell you first, my wife and I are longtime SPU facilitators. We've been to Entree Leadership there in Nashville at your place, and we put our church through it as well. We've led them through it. So thank you, and thank you and God for all your blessings.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for all the help. How can I help you today?
Well, my wife and I'm 59, she's 52. We just recently paid off 27 acres and a barn that we had built, 10, 12 years ago. And a house we've been into for 5 years now. It's about a $550,000 house. We've paid off down. We got about 260 left on it, and we're getting after it, trying to get it done.
Good for you.
We expect to pay that off. We make 260 a year.
Wow.
We expect to pay that off within the next few years. But here's the thing. I'm very desirous to put a 100% solar power system on our property here.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll cover 100% of our electrical needs.
Okay.
And the thing is, other than our emergency fund, our fully funded emergency fund, we don't have the cash to do it. It's going to be, let me tell you the reason. I'm under the gun. It's a time crunch, and it's this. First of all, the federal tax incentives are going away.
Mm-hmm.
Last year they were 30. This year they're phasing down to 26. Next year 22, and then they're gone.
Yeah. But
that's not the problem, because we could save up through the year and do it this year with it. But right now, I have a quote from an installer who's going to give me an additional $13,000 for if I just pay it off and buy it from him now. But I'm on a time limit within the next month to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay to borrow against the house and tack that onto the note and put that in?
Okay. This is the same guy who said he leads Financial Peace University, right?
I said we're not leading it right now, but yes.
I know.
You know what?
I'm giving you a hard time. You know I'm not going to ever tell someone to borrow money.
I know that you don't borrow money yourself.
And I tell people to never borrow money, except the possibility on a purchase of a home. And that's it. I have never, in the history of the show or the history of Financial Peace University, told somebody to borrow money for solar. And I wouldn't do it.
In a fantasy world,
I wouldn't do it. It's not a fantasy world. It's not a fantasy world. You make $260,000 a year. You got a salesman painted you into a corner and is holding a gun to your face. Tell him to jump in a creek and eat his $13,000. And if he doesn't come back with a $13,000 discount when you got the money to pay cash, you'll do business with his freaking competitor.
Okay.
No, pay cash. You make $200 and something thousand dollars, $260,000 a year. How much does this project cost?
The total price of it is $82,000.
Yeah. Okay.
With
and you get a tax credit for 26% of that this year.
Yeah.
And you can pay cash for that this year, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
This is an additional $13,000.
I know, but he'll give you the $13,000 in the fall, or I'll go to his competitor. That's just bull,
I'm trying
man.
that too. Yeah.
That's just bull. If he doesn't want to do it, it's okay. Somebody will take my money. Let me tell you how many solar projects are $82,000 on a residential piece of property. None. This is the biggest fish this guy's ever gotten on a hook in his life. He ain't gonna let you off. You're holding you got all the aces, baby. He don't have any. You're holding the cards.
Right.
So you play this. You're the guy making $260. You're the guy's got money. He's a solar salesman. Now, last question.
Right.
What do you think the break-even period is on this? How much, when you save on your electricity bill, how much are you going to save? How long does it take you to get your $82,000 back?
Oh, well, it'll be a long time. The actual would be about $69,000 after the credit.
Okay.
But
and after the 13 and all that. Okay. So anyway, $60,000.
It'll be a long time.
How long?
It won't be as long as I'm going to be paying an electric bill. And it wasn't just because of the electric bill anyway. It's also stewardship of the planet and security.
Yeah, I got you.
Of having electricity when nobody else does.
I appreciate all that. Those two things are luxuries. The financial decision is the break even. Okay?
Right.
So how much are you going to save a year in money on electricity?
Well, again, not counting the increase in electrical costs or anything like that.
In the coming 12 months
You know what
after
I'm
you
saying?
install it, right now.
Probably about $4,000 a year.
Okay, so 10 years you make 40 grand.
Right.
Your break
So
even's
15
your
for
break
60.
even's 15 years, not counting increases in electric bills. So your break even's probably between 8 and 12 years, something like that. I believe in solar. The solar technologies that are out there now are vastly superior to what they were even just a decade ago. But certainly when it all started coming out, when you and I first started seeing it 20 and 30 years ago, it was crap. But the technology is amazing now, and it's worth it.
Yes, I agree.
I endorse solar companies for installs in a lot of markets, but I would not recommend on a financial basis that you do an 8-year break-even period or a 10-year break-even period. That's too long. But here's what I would do if I were in your shoes, okay? I would do the deal. I'd pay cash for it.
Uh-huh.
But in my mind, I would say half of this is because I have $260,000 income and I can just afford to burn $30,000, and this is how I want to burn it. It's a luxury purchase. It's going on a $30,000
Right. I was
cruise.
looking at it.
Okay, and the other
I was
30,000
looking at
is
it
a
as
reasonable.
possible.
The other 30,000 is a reasonable financial decision.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want you to call this a financial decision because it's not. You know, it's like
No,
if you
I
put it's
wasn't
like if
looking
you
at
put a
it as-
pool in the
no.
backyard for $25,000 and the value of your house goes up 10,000. Well, you got to enjoy 15,000 worth of the pool because the other part of it doesn't make sense, right? And that's what this is.
Right.
You got to
Right.
be in your bonnet about solar, and you can afford to write a check and do this thing by the end of the year, and you should write a check in cash by the end of the year and do this thing. May not be doing it with this particular company because I'm already pissed off at this company, but the good news is, dude, you've done very well with money. You're very wise. You make a lot of money. You've been very intentional, but you got solar panel fever. I mean, don't jump off the dadgum cliff now, man. Let's just say a portion of this is just because I can, and a portion of this makes financial sense. And that's okay. It's like putting a pool in the backyard. Same thing. Other people rather have a pool, but that's okay. Again, I'm not against solar. Usually, in most areas of the country, depending on where the sun is and all that kind of stuff, it'll make more sense than the numbers you're giving me. But you're doing it for other reasons here, and I get that. I'm with you. Hey, thank you for the call, and thank you for leading Financial Peace University. And don't ever tell anybody in one of those classes to borrow money to buy solar panels. I'll come hunt you down.